First contact in the void. The celestial Voyager glided through the emptiness of space, its sleek hull reflecting distant starlight. Commander Zirax stood on the bridge, four arms crossed behind his back as he gazed at the holographic display. His crystalline skin caught the blue light of the ship's controls, sending prismatic reflections across the command center. "Routine patrol of Sector 217B almost complete, Commander," announced Navigation Officer Thela, her tentacles dancing across the console. "Nothing unusual to report." Zirax nodded, his faceted eyes scanning the data feeds. The Galactic Confederation had maintained peace across 12,000 star systems for over 8 centuries. These patrols were merely formalities now, bureaucratic checkboxes to be ticked. "Begin preparations for the jump back tow." "Commander." The urgent voice of Science Officer Nilax cut through the calm. "Sensors detecting an anomalous object at coordinates 88 to 700 and 2491. Zirax turned sharply. "Classification." "Unknown, sir. It appears to be a vessel, but—" Nilax's compound eyes blinked rapidly. "The design matches nothing in our database." The bridge fell silent. In an age where every ship design was registered and tracked, an unknown vessel was virtually impossible. "On screen," ordered Zirax. The central display shifted, revealing a dark silhouette against the backdrop of stars. The vessel was angular, utilitarian, with no apparent aesthetic considerations in its design. Most striking was its apparent age. The hull showed signs of micrometeorite impacts and cosmic radiation exposure spanning centuries. "Magnify," Zirax commanded. As the image zoomed in, faded markings became visible along the hull. Nilax's translator matrix worked for several moments before displaying the results. "TSV Memory of Earth," Nilax read aloud. "Commander, those are human script characters." A collective murmur spread across the bridge. Humans were the ghosts of galactic history, a species known only through fragmentary records and archaeological discoveries. They had vanished over a millennium ago, leaving behind ruins and mysteries, but no survivors. "Are you certain?" Zirax asked, his voice hushed. "The linguistic patterns are a 99.8% match to recovered human language samples," confirmed Nilax. "This appears to be a human vessel." Security Chief Corvin, a massive reptilian with armored scales, stepped forward. "Impossible. The humans were extinct long before our grandparents' drew breath. This must be a derelict, perhaps preserved in a temporal anomaly." "Life signs?" Zirax asked. "None detectable," replied Nilax. "However, there are unusual energy signatures emanating from its core. Nothing immediately recognizable as a propulsion system." Zirax considered their options. Confederation protocol was clear. Unidentified vessels were to be approached with extreme caution, particularly those of extinct civilizations. The humans had been technological pioneers before their disappearance. Their artifacts were often dangerous, containing forgotten sciences. "Bring us alongside. Minimal approach velocity," Zirax ordered. "Prepare a boarding team. Full containment protocols." 4 hours later, Zirax watched from the bridge as the boarding shuttle docked with the ancient human vessel. The team, led by Corvin, and including Nilax and 3 security specialists, moved cautiously through the airlock. "Atmosphere present but stale," reported Corvin through the comm. "Gravity systems functional at approximately 0.8 standard. Temperature at minimal life support levels." "Proceed with caution," instructed Zirax. Remember, human technology was notoriously unpredictable. The boarding team's helmet cameras transmitted feeds to the bridge. The interior of the vessel was austere, narrow corridors with exposed conduits and minimal accommodation for comfort. Everything was designed for function, not form. "These markings," Nilax observed, focusing on symbols along a corridor wall. "They appear to be directional indicators. Engineering, command, life support. Follow the command indicators," ordered Zirax. The team made their way through the silent ship, passing sealed compartments and darkened chambers. Despite its age, the vessel showed remarkably little deterioration. "Commander," called Neelax suddenly, "I'm detecting a power surge ahead. Something's activating." Before Zirax could respond, the lights in the corridor flickered to life. A soft hum filled the air as dormant systems awakened. "Pull back," ordered Zirax immediately. "Return to the shuttle." "Wait," said Neelax, her scanner extended toward a sealed doorway that was now illuminating from within. "This energy signature, it's like nothing I've ever seen." The doors slid open, revealing the circular chamber. At its center hovered a pulsing blue sphere, suspended within a complex array of crystalline structures. The sphere rippled and shifted like liquid, yet maintained its perfect form. "What is it?" asked Corvin, weapon raised cautiously. Neelax moved closer, scanner working furiously. "It appears to be some form of quantum computing matrix, but orders of magnitude more advanced than anything in Confederation technology." As the team watched, the sphere pulsed brighter. A voice emanated from all around them, smooth, measured, and speaking perfect galactic standard. "Greetings, visitors. You have accessed Memory Archive Vessel 7. I am Custodian. How may I assist you?" Corvin moved protectively in front of Neelax. "Identify yourself fully." The sphere pulsed with each word. "I am Custodian, Artificial Intelligence Matrix and Guardian of this vessel. This ship contains the preserved consciousness patterns of 700,000 humans, the last survivors of Earth." Zirax, watching from the bridge, felt his crystalline skin cool with shock. Preserved consciousness patterns. The technology to digitize sentient minds had eluded even the most advanced Confederation scientists. "Explain your presence here," demanded Corvin. "This vessel was launched in Earth year 2397, shortly before the extinction event," replied Custodian. "I was programmed to remain dormant until contacted by compatible technological civilizations. Your approach triggered my awakening protocols." "Extinction event," echoed Neelax. "The destruction of Sol system and the human homeworld." Custodian explained. "The memory ships were our final project, vessels containing the digitized consciousness of volunteer humans, sent in different directions to preserve our knowledge and essence." Zirax leaned forward, fascinated and disturbed. "Ask about their technology. How were they able to preserve consciousness?" Neelax relayed the question, and the sphere pulsed thoughtfully before responding. "The consciousness preservation matrix was developed during humanity's final decades. It maps and stores the complete neural patterns, memories, and personality constructs of an individual. The preserved minds can be awakened within virtual environments, or, with appropriate technology, transferred to compatible host forms." "Are you claiming these consciousness patterns are still alive?" asked Neelax. "They exist in a state of suspended animation," explained Custodian. "Neither fully conscious nor truly dormant. They wait for suitable conditions to be restored." Zirax ordered the team to return to the Celestial Voyager immediately. This discovery far exceeded their authority to manage. Within hours, a priority transmission was sent to Confederation Central. 3 days later, a Confederation diplomatic vessel arrived, carrying High Administrator Valxor herself, the third highest authority in the galaxy's governing body. Zirax found himself in a hastily arranged conference room, explaining their discovery. "You understand the implications of this, Commander?" asked Valxor, her bioluminescent patterns shifting with concern across her translucent body. "I believe so, Administrator," replied Zirax. "If genuine, this vessel contains the last remnants of human civilization, a species previously thought completely extinct." "More than that," said Valxor. "If their consciousness preservation technology is real, it represents the most significant scientific discovery in 5 centuries. An aide approached, whispering urgently to Valxor. Her luminescence dimmed momentarily. "It appears our discussions will need to accelerate," she announced. "The human vessel has just activated its defensive systems. All attempts at communication have failed." On the view screen, they watched as the memory of Earth's hull began to glow with lines of blue energy. A field of shimmering force surrounded it, pushing away the Confederation vessels that had attempted to establish docking connections. "It seems," said Valkyr gravely, "that our new human friends are not ready to trust us just yet." As they watched, a message appeared across all communication channels. Simple text in Galactic Standard. "We have LISTNED to your DISCUSSIVONs. We know your intentions. The legacy of Earth is not a resource to be exploited. We will speak only with those who recognize us as equals, not his specimens." The Confederation officials exchanged uneasy glances. The humans, even in this strange preserved state, had been monitoring them all along. And they were awake. The legacy of Earth. Administrator Valkyr stood alone before the communication array, her bioluminescent patterns carefully regulated to Project Calm Authority. Behind her, the Confederation delegation waited in tense silence. "I am High Administrator Valkyr of the Galactic Confederation," she announced. "I wish to speak directly with the Human Consciousness Collective. We apologize for any perception of disrespect. It was not our intention." For several long moments, there was no response from the memory of Earth. Then the view screen flickered, resolving into the image of a human figure, a woman with dark skin and silver-streaked hair. Her appearance was solid, but occasionally rippled, betraying her digital nature. "I am Dr. Elena Chandra, Chief Architect of the Consciousness Preservation Project," she said. "I speak as representative for the collective. Your apology is acknowledged, Administrator Valkyr." Zurax watched from the side, struck by how real she appeared despite being a construct of preserved consciousness patterns. The humans had achieved what the Confederation's greatest minds considered impossible. "Dr. Chandra," Valkyr began, "your vessel represents an extraordinary discovery. We have only fragmentary knowledge of human civilization. Your presence offers an unprecedented opportunity for understanding." Chandra's expression remained measured. "We understand your curiosity. However, we did not preserve ourselves merely to become historical exhibits. We carry the legacy of Earth for a specific purpose." "What purpose is that?" asked Valkyr. The digital human's eyes seemed to look beyond them. "Before I answer, you must understand what happened to Earth. May I show you?" At Valkyr's nod, the view screen expanded, surrounding them with a three-dimensional projection. They found themselves standing on what appeared to be a planet. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. "Earth, as it was in 2350, explained Chandra's voice. "Our golden age. We had overcome our greatest challenges: climate collapse, resource depletion, political fragmentation. We had unified and begun to explore neighboring star systems." The scene shifted, showing gleaming cities, space elevators reaching into the sky, orbital habitats circling the planet. Then we detected it. The projection changed to show deep space. At first, nothing was visible. Then sensors highlighted a massive dark region moving against the starfield, a void where stars simply disappeared. We called it the Umbra. Not a physical entity in the conventional sense, but a region where the fundamental laws of physics were being rewritten. It consumed light, matter, energy. Even time itself seemed distorted within its boundaries. The projection showed human ships approaching the anomaly, then being consumed, vanishing into nothingness. Our scientists determined it was expanding. Slowly at first, but with increasing speed. Our calculations showed it would reach Earth within 30 years, and the entire galaxy within a millennium. The scene shifted again, showing frantic activity, massive construction projects, global evacuations. We tried everything, Chandra continued. Physical relocation was temporary. The Umbra would eventually consume all physical space. Generation ships, cryogenic preservation, all merely delayed the inevitable. Zurax felt a chill through his crystalline form. What is this Umbra? Where did it come from? We never fully understood its nature, replied Chandra. Some theorized it was the byproduct of another universe colliding with ours. Others believed it was artificial, a weapon deployed by beings beyond our comprehension. The projection showed new images, humans connected to complex machines, their bodies motionless as their minds were scanned and digitized. The Consciousness Preservation Project was our final solution. By converting our consciousness into quantum patterns, we could exist in a state the Umbra couldn't directly affect. We built 7 memory ships, each containing different segments of human knowledge and hundreds of thousands of preserved minds. The view expanded to show the 7 vessels launching in different directions from a dying Earth, just as the edge of the dark Umbra began to touch the solar system. The other 6 vessels carried our art, history, philosophy, and genetic templates. This ship, Memory of Earth, carried something else. Our scientific understanding of the Umbra and the technology we developed to counteract it. The projection faded, returning them to the conference room. Dr. Chandra's digital form regarded them solemnly. We developed a theoretical framework for generating an anti-Umbra field, a bubble of stabilized space-time that could halt its expansion. We lacked the resources to implement it before Earth fell, but the complete research is preserved within this vessel. Valxer's luminescence pulsed with alarm. Are you suggesting this Umbra still exists? It does, confirmed Chandra. Moving slower than our worst projections, but still advancing. By our calculations, it will reach the nearest Confederation worlds within 50 years. The room erupted in shocked discussion. Zirax stepped forward. Why have our scientists detected no sign of this phenomenon? Because you weren't looking for it, replied Chandra. The initial indicators are subtle, slight redshifting of distant galaxies, quantum fluctuations in supposedly empty space. We can provide the detection parameters. Administrator Valxer raised a hand, silencing the room. If what you say is true, this represents an existential threat to all life in the galaxy. It is why we exist, said Chandra simply. We preserved ourselves not merely to survive, but to warn those who came after us and provide the means to fight. Why not approach us sooner? Asked Zirax. Chandra's expression softened slightly. We needed to be certain of your civilization's nature. The Confederation is relatively young by our reckoning. We have observed you for centuries, watching your development. You've been awake all this time? Valxer asked, startled. In limited capacity, we take turns maintaining awareness, monitoring galactic developments. We needed to be certain you would use our knowledge responsibly. Zirax felt a new respect growing for these digital echoes of humanity. And what is your assessment of us? Imperfect, as all sentient civilizations are, replied Chandra with the first hint of a smile, but worthy of preservation. The Confederation has largely avoided the mistakes that nearly destroyed humanity before we encountered the Umbra. Valxer stepped closer to the projection. What do you propose, Dr. Chandra? A partnership. We offer our knowledge, not just of the Umbra, but all human scientific advancement. In exchange, we ask for recognition as a living species with all rights and protections that entails, and we require your commitment to implementing the anti-Umbra array. That seems reasonable, acknowledged Valxer. But I must ask, what becomes of your consciousness patterns once this knowledge is shared? Chandra's image rippled slightly. That brings me to our final revelation. The Consciousness Preservation Project was always meant to be temporary. The display shifted again, showing complex molecular structures. These are advanced biosynth templates, the culmination of human genetic engineering. They can be grown rapidly and are designed to accept consciousness transfers. They are not merely bodies, but the next evolutionary step we designed for ourselves. Understanding dawned on Zirax. You plan to return to physical form. Yes, confirmed Chandra. Humanity didn't truly die. We transformed. We stored ourselves away like seeds waiting for the right season to bloom again. The time has come for humanity to return. For several moments, no one spoke. Then Administrator Valxer's colors shifted to formal diplomatic patterns. On behalf of the Galactic Confederation, I welcome the return of humanity to the community of sentient species. We accept your offer of partnership and pledge our resources toward addressing this Umbra threat. Dr. Chandra nodded, her digital form standing straighter. Then let us begin. We have much work to do. As the discussions continued into the night, Commander Zirax found himself contemplating the resilience of this long-lost species. Faced with extinction, they had not merely sought to preserve themselves, but had developed the means to save all who would come after them. The legacy of Earth was not just knowledge or technology. It was hope, the unwavering determination to fight against the darkness, even when victory seemed impossible. Within a year, the first new humans would walk among the stars again. Within 5 years, construction would begin on the massive anti-Umbra array that would eventually halt the expansion of the cosmic threat. And the galaxy would remember that sometimes the greatest strength isn't found in power or numbers, but in the refusal to surrender, a quality that humanity had preserved perfectly across the centuries.